What's up, guys? We're back with Tuesday Tips, episode 52. There's now one for every week of the year. This is a special episode. I only pretty much make them now when I have like a specific idea. And today's episode is on how to be slow correctly, featuring a 7x7 solve by Bill Wang. Most notably, 7x7 centers by Bill Wang. First, I wanted to talk about how to be slow correctly in general. The main idea is that if you're slower than, the perfect scenario to be slow is you do the exact same moves as the best solving elite cuber. So think like Felix or Xiaohook Nam as the two people off the top of my head that like have probably the cleanest solves. Like if you average 12 but you do the same moves that they do just slower, that's the best way to average 12, because the only thing left to do is just to get better at what you're already doing. If you're averaging 12 and you're like making tons of mistakes, doing way too fast TPS, all sorts of crazy stuff, like you could be the same speed as someone else that averages 12 right now, but it's going to be way harder for you to get better because you have to revamp your whole style, maybe switch to color neutral, all this stuff, while the other person just has to get better at what they're already doing. That's kind of the whole thing where I talk about, like when I do solve analyses, a lot of things I talk about are like, if this video is really short, it's probably because you're doing a good job at being slow, in the sense that, wow, okay, a lot of this stuff is good. You're doing good stuff. You're not turning too fast. You're pausing when you can't find anything because you just realize you got to find the pieces. There's no point in doing extra turns. All this stuff is really good. And so I'm like, wow, really the biggest thing, the biggest compliment you can give like someone on in terms of how they're cubing if they're slower is that you don't need to change what you're doing. You just need to get better at what you're doing. I think a great example of this is Bill Wang's 7x7 centers in this solve. He uploaded a 2-7 relay a couple days ago. He gave me permission to use this video. He says slow. It's 5:36 2-7 relay, which is all right. I mean, it's not 2013 anymore, Bill, but he has a 227 7x7 solve in here with 124 centers. So he does edges in 3x3 and 103, which is actually very fast. That's pretty elite level. Like that's very good. But it is 124 7x7 centers, which is certainly subpar. Not like, I mean, it's good. It's Bill's really solid, but it's certainly, his centers are definitely lacking. The 7x7 centers are easily the worst part in this entire 2-7 relay, but the way he does them slowly is a really good. He actually messaged me and was like, you should watch my 7x7 centers, they're garbage, and I was pleasantly surprised because I said, you're actually doing really good stuff, you're just slow at it. It's just clear that you're thinking about it versus, he's thinking about what moves to make instead of just knowing what moves to make, and that's really good if you're like trying to become better, because if you just know what moves to make and you're not that great, you just know like really basic moves or stuff that's not very efficient, while Bill is sitting there, he might be able to be a little faster by like doing moves he knows and just burning out. Right now, he might be able to burn out a bunch of really simple, high TPS, really inefficient moves and be a little faster right now, but because he's sitting there and thinking about everything and then like actually doing a good move instead, like it might be a little slower right now, but like will help him way more in the long term, and it's kind of how to be slow correctly. Kind of branching off this in terms of like thinking about the long term, Jay McNeil is a great video about how you should always practice to be the best solver in the future, not to get the best time right now, because only like big results matter. I'll link that video in the description. Big tangent. I think it's a great video as well. But here we go. Let's look at Bill's solve. Starts with blue centers, I think, right? What does he start with? Yeah. We're starting with red, right? Or I forget. Yeah, he's not red. Okay, so I lost my track for a second. Okay, so nothing too crazy. Right here, there's a couple things. There's two different types of things I'm gonna make note of during this video, or this solve analysis / Tuesday tip. There's things that are not obvious, and you might need you might just need a lot of solves to really figure out like, oh, there's actually a little bit of a better way to do that, versus things that are like, okay, it's pretty obvious there's a better way to do it, but like you're just trying to go so fast you're just gonna completely ignore it. And Bill is pretty good at never just like being like, okay, there's definitely a better way to do this, but I'm just going to skip it. Bill doesn't do that. But there are definitely times in this solve where Bill like will do something where there's a better option, but it might not be really obvious. And honestly, the line between these two things is pretty blurry, as in like something that might be, there's obviously a better solution, might be not be true. Like obviously is kind of a subjective word depending on where you are in like 7x7 thought process and whatnot. Like this piece I'm gonna show you right here, like could be obvious, could be not. Like when I see this, what Bill does right here is he does this is something I don't think it's a big deal that he doesn't do. He does a slice. Like this is he's got to match these three pieces up. It's definitely the best solution. He does a slice, U, and then a slice back. But what you could do in this specific case right here is you can do let me just set it up. What does he got? He's got something like, what does he got going on? I totally don't even know. How do I set this up? Oh, whatever. You could do, essentially, you pull down these two pieces. You do like an R wide 3, U, R wide 3 prime to pull these two pieces down to right here. And then you do an R wide 2, move them up, and then grab them back down. No slices. Pretty much like probably the same speed, but no slices, so definitely better. But not a big deal that he didn't do it correctly here. But there's a couple of nice points in a second. And obviously, I'm using Bill's solve as like how to be slow correctly. And Bill's like really fast, and this is still like a 227 solve. It's more about the centers because the caliber of these centers is more of a. I'd say these centers are a similar caliber to like a 250 solve, which is still like really fast and definitely in the top 100. But this is kind of the thought process and the principles that Bill is using here that apply to like any speed. So where's some? So right here, I like this. Like right here is something like it's really good. So like right here, it's really common to instead of like, okay, so Bill's finishing his red center and he's putting his red center on bottom. And this is not the easiest thing to do with your D moves. And you can see right here, Bill messes it up. And he has to do that weird, awkward finger trick. And this is like, okay, well, if Bill was just like going for the solve right now, he would have put red face on you, inserted the bar, and then done another Y2. But like going for something that like, this is how to be bad correctly. Because eventually he'll be good at this and he won't mess it up. And it will be faster. A little bit of a mistake right here. Just this is like obvious stuff, but he pulls down these two pieces. Like that's nothing special. But like right here, like stuff like this right here is like people who are being like, I see this a lot. This is not like that special, but like whatever. Actually, what I was curious what this was. Okay, never mind. That was not. Okay, so right here, I actually want to point out this one right here. This is this point I was actually really impressed with. This specific move selection right here. If it loads. Okay, right here we got this 4x1 right, and this one piece right here. But you notice, okay, so this is, if you don't see this piece right here, it's gonna be two slices. It's gonna be slice down, you slice back to solve this, which is really bad. But like you can see it immediately, and like holy crap, it's right there. And like you might be like, okay, I see it, I should just do it. But there's probably something better, and I'm happy that Bill like does find something better. Unfortunately, he still executes it poorly because he could have just done a U prime instead of like two moves, but he actually finds something better. Yo, sweet T-balls, thanks for the bits. I love big cubes too. I don't think Bill does as much. That's pretty solid. I just want to like look at the amount of dead time in this solve. Like the amount of like it just like smooth. Like there's a lot of pausing, like right there. Okay, so this is something that Bill actually messes up that he needs to be better on. Right here. So he did this. This is a thing I've seen a lot of actually really good solvers mess up on. So he has the blue center solved, or he's working on the blue center, and he does this M2, and then the white face right here is the U face is completely free to do whatever you want with, but he does the M2 back, and there's no reason to do that M2 back. And then he solves this right here. Like it's kind of like the order of which you do it. In this case, I don't think it actually cost him any time because he was gonna have to do that M2 anyways. But in a lot of cases, you can kind of cancel. You can do like your R along with your M2, or you can cancel that move. So this one actually wasn't a big deal, but this is okay. So this point right here is where. Okay, so right here, I want to like really iterate on this set of moves right here. So Bill gets this 2x4 right here. 2x4s into 2x5s, especially this 2 is the most advanced center building that anyone reliably does. Like, I've gotten pretty good at this. Like, I'm very comfortable doing this, but this is very difficult to find this last 2x5. It's like, okay, this last 2x1's not that bad because he's already got the 4x2, but like, watch how much time Bill spends looking for this. Like, it was a solid like 2 or 3 seconds in the solve where he just straight up pauses and is like, all right, I'm gonna go for this 2x5. I have no idea how to do it. I've like done it. Bill's probably done it like 2 or 3 times before. Like, how do I do it? Like, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna actually figure out how to do it in the middle of this solve. Like, that's the type of stuff you need to be doing in your practice solves that'll make you better. Because okay, you could skip over that and you probably would have been faster. It wouldn't have taken him 4 seconds to finish those 2 bars. But next time in 100 solves, it's gonna be a lot easier. Like, stuff like that is really important when like you kind of know that like. So I wouldn't recommend if you average like 5 minutes or 4 minutes to go for something like that because that's really advanced. So Bill's at the point where if he's doing a minute 24 centers, doing 2x5 is kind of the next logical step in your center progression, especially with like what he's doing right now. And that's like something you should be going for. You should always be going for the risky play of like, okay, this might be worse now, but I need to think hard and like figure out, okay, I should be smarter as opposed to just like faster right now. This is turning a lot into like similar to the Jay McNeil video, but I don't like that, I don't think. I think there's a better way to do that. One sec. He did this really fast. Oh, he did that 2x5. Oh, that's fine, that's fine. That's just a bad case. Like that. It's fine. Oh, Bill. Unfortunate. It's good that like he assumed he knew where the piece was, but he just incorrect and he was on the wrong side. But not a big deal. Because I think there's a bit. I would recommend. Okay, so I'm not sure in this specific case what I do, but I wouldn't do what Bill does. I would. Okay, so this is less about the idea of being a good bad solver, but don't do middle bar. Like, I think Bill does middle bar first always on last 2. Don't do that. He's too fast for that. Time to stop doing that. Also, right here, there's a cancellation. Right here, let's go back a second. This is also more just like advanced stuff that is hard to know. Right here, you actually should do a slice move up right here, and then it'll lead into a cancellation. His hand's blocking it. If you slice this middle bar right up like this, then you have these 4, and then the last piece is right here, which is really easy to finish your bar off. Because now he does... Okay, now he's just doing stupid crap. This is garbage. Also right here, so you can do these moves to where you get all 4 pieces together, which takes 3 extra moves at this position. Or, if you did another U prime, and he could have just inserted in 3... So it's 6 moves to put these 4 pieces together, or 3 moves to put these 3 pieces together. If you do the 6 move option, then you do a comm on this single piece. If you do a 3 move option, you do a comm on these 2 pieces. So 2 pieces is a little riskier, but I think on average it's a little faster. So I'd recommend doing just the 3. It's not I don't honestly. It's like whatever kind of. That's kind of preference based because those 3 moves take about a tenth of a second, and the comm probably adds like a 0.05 seconds, so not a big deal. And then Bill wanted me to watch his 3x3 and edges or something, and they're pretty nice, but I'm not going to say nice things about him. Actually, he gets 103 for edges and 3x3, which is like actually really quick. Like, that's almost what I average. It's like pretty legit. Just a quick note, he's using the Haze 7. It's just whatever. It's just whatever. See if I notice him doing anything like crazy here. Good UI 3 prime stuff. I talk about that a lot. Stuff that I should be better at. Whoa, what was that? What was that actually? That was before this. Oh, you see that? This is the cool stuff. So right here, if you notice, if you're ever in this position right here, and you have this, you can just do a U2 to flip an edge. It's kind of important because Bill's got all four solved on D, so you want to make sure you flip this solved edge with a solved edge over there, but not like that worked out. Good U wide stuff, real nice. Right here, good cycle. This is a good cycle right there. That was kind of weird. Oh man, look at this. Oh, such a smooth through I3. Bill was bragging to me about that one. He said it was 9 seconds. Oh, then he has 6x6. I forgot. The solve was an end. But yeah. So pretty much that was mostly. I mostly just wanted to point out that like we can just like I'll watch through actually a full thing again. Just like if you looked at the move count, the really thing I want to talk about is like if you looked at the move count difference between my centers and Bill centers, like it wouldn't be that much different. Like I'm more efficient in like a decent amount of ways, but Bill probably has lower move count centers than a lot of cubers faster than him. He just pauses a lot because he's not very confident in what he's doing because he just hasn't done them that many times. And like really the biggest, like if I was getting Bill advice, like do mostly the same stuff. Like there's definitely some tricks you need to learn, but overall it's like the fundamentals are pretty solid. And he's like okay, like pausing and stuff like right there and stuff. So like you can just look at this and like look at how much dead time there is. Or just stuff where, like right there, like there's a lot of like dead time, but he's not like doing unnecessary moves all the time. He's actually looking for like better options. So that's just kind of what I want to talk about. If you're a newer cuber, or if you want to, if you want to get better at anything in general, like especially like go watch the Jay McNeil video too. I'll link it down below. Like always go for the riskier, the better option in practice. Like don't be like so super laser focused on getting a good time on this specific solve. Like you should be thinking about better options. Like you want to be cubing. The goal, if you're a slower cuber, is to cube exactly like the most efficient, the cleanest cubers out there. You're just not as good as it, and that's fine. You'll get there with practice, but you don't want to have a bad style, and you don't want to be like doing stuff that's gonna like hurt you in the long run because you're gonna have to get a lot better at that. And it's gonna be way harder than like redesigning your style is way harder than like just getting better at what you're already doing. Yeah.